It's a work of modern art with a meteorological twist. This high-tech exhibit in Chicago is actually powered by the weather. Its creators figured out a way to turn data about the winds, clouds, and rain into this dazzling 95-foot-long digital display called Sensing Change. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah. Well, joining us this morning via Skype from New York City is the creative force behind this weather-inspired art.
Let's welcome Edwin Schlossberg, who is the president and principal designer at ESI Design. Edwin, it was just absolutely fantastic what you actually created. So what inspired your designers to come up with this concept?
Well, it's really interesting to look at things that change, and it's really boring to look at things that don't. And so we had this beautiful space, big space, as you mentioned, and we wanted to make something that would be changeable and interesting and beautiful all at the same time. So we just came up with this idea of connecting all the weather reports in Chicago to a computer, which then puts algorithms to those weather reports, the humidity, the temperature, the airspeed, and then creates a collage of all the colors that we associated with each one of those forces. And so that means that it never repeats, it's always different, and it always makes for really interesting things, because then we can have the lights moving across the screen in the same speed that the wind in the city is moving across the city. So it has some really interesting qualities to it. And we also designed it so that on St. Patrick's Day, it can all be shades of green, or it can be red, white, and blue for 4th of July, so that it has a quality of really being adaptive and responsive to the world.
Pretty cool putting that weather data into lights here. You also have plans to blend natural elements into this high-tech display using ivy. Talk about that.
Yeah, so we put a whole ivy bed at the bottom of the sign, and we put wires so that it can climb up the sign, so that then over time, it will kind of be another sort of living backdrop to the changing light patterns that are going to be exhibited.
And what kind of feedback have you gotten from people who work and dine near this piece of art?
Well, the people from John Buck, which is the developer owner of the building, have told us that their tenants really love it. Because they sit outside, at least in the summer months, and watch it, and they, especially in the evening, it's really cool, and that they think it's a real addition to the whole environment around the building.
Well, fantastic.
So it's really nice.
Piece of work there. Edwin Schlossberg, thank you so much for joining us and sharing us with that beautiful display of art you have going on there in Chicago.
And for people who are going back to school, they might be